Welcome back then to another review video here on Squatting Quads, and this is the GEPRC CineLog30. This is a 3-inch ducted drone that comes with an 04 Pro, an F7 flight controller, and a 32-bit ESC. It also comes with LEDs built into those ducts as well. Look. Now we are under bright studio lights, so you may not be able to see it perfectly, but certainly outside it really does stand out and helps the spotter see the drone, which is a really important safety feature. Now, it isn't perfect. It doesn't have a GPS built into it. It is sub 249 grams. The ducts are a little bit bendy with them being plastic to keep the weight down. Obviously the frame itself is carbon. We've got 1404 motors, like I say, an F7 and a 32-bit. So it's really well spec'd, and actually it was quite cheap. It's also got a little sort of shock absorbing dampening system for the 04 camera. Now that seems to be brilliant, but the concern obviously was going to be, is this going to be too much? Is this going to be too much dampening? Because with the 04 Pro you can actually dampen it too much. It's no easy science, so we're going to have a look at it and see what we can do. So over the course of the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to have a look at this drone, maybe 30 minutes. We're going to have a look at this drone. We're going to fly it in really, really windy conditions, because the thing is in life, and there is a motivational quote, if you like, about this, that says if you wait for the perfect conditions to come along, you'll never do what you want to do. And it was about 30-mile-an-hour winds that I took this out in. Now last year, or maybe the year before, I wouldn't have flown a 5-inch in those winds. So the fact that not only did I do it, but also that this handled it really well speaks volumes about the quad and potentially me. But this is not about me, this is about you and the quad. So I'm really impressed with it. We'll have a look at the footage, we'll have a look at the flights. You can make your own decision as to what you think about it. What we're also going to do in the next half an hour or so is we're going to compare it to the behemoth, the 6S Axis flying Cinon 35, and all the way down to the Spider Itsy 1.6. This is going to sit in about the middle. We're also going to compare it to a couple of others on the desk as well, so you can actually see the size of it. It does come in with this battery. I didn't film an actual weight test, but it does come in with this battery at exactly 249 grams. So to add a GPS, which we are going to do in a future video, we are going to have to get a bit creative and work out how we can shed a little bit of weight. It may just be a slightly lighter battery. GEPRC do say that you can get 8 minutes flight time with a 720 mAh 4S LIHV, so we're going to test that theory. Bearing in mind we was flying in high wind, so we may get slightly less, but if we can get anywhere close to that with this, then that's going to be absolutely superb. If we drop down to maybe a 660 mAh with a GPS, we can probably still get 5 or 6 minutes if that 8-minute flight time is to be believed. And the only way to find out whether or not it is to be believed is to get out there and go and test this. So let's freaking go. Let's do us a little size comparison then with the GEPRC CineLog30. First up, we have the behemoth, the Axis flying Cinon 35. Now, there is a few differences in this quad. Let's just move this camera up a little bit so we can get a bit of a better angle on it. There we go. So initially you may think there's not a huge difference between them. They don't actually look that much bigger till you start comparing the specs and the details. This actually runs 6S, this runs 4S. This is, I mean, it's really well put together. It's really nice, but it's incredibly powerful and loud, and it's not something that you can necessarily thread through the eye of a needle. But that said, it's only a 3.5 inch and it is only a little bit bigger. It is just quite a bit heavier actually. It's about 400 grams without a battery, whereas this is 249 grams with a battery. So we've got thicker plastics, we've got thicker carbon fiber. Brilliant quad, but you're not going to be able to fly it in the sub 250 rules, and you are going to sort of be limited as to where you can thread it, even though it is a really, really great quad. It's also got LEDs, which appears to be falling out as well. And there are the LEDs from the Cinon 35 from Axis Flying. Really great quad. One of the favourite sort of Cinewhoops in the bigger style that I've got. Enjoy flying it, enjoy threading it, but like I say, it's it's a beast to tame. It's not something I'd recommend for newbies and for people who wanted to fly indoors and around people because of the weight, but it's a really great one. But you can see obviously the size difference between them there. So that's the Axis Flying CineLog30 V3. At the other end of the scale, we have got the DarwinFPV Tiny Ape 20. This is a 2-inch Cinewhoop. Now, I was going to compare it to the Beta FPV Pavo 20 Pro, but that's 2.2 inches, so that's going to have a sort of bigger gap between them. This is what a 2-inch Cinewhoop looks like. Now, again, direct comparisons. This is quieter by quite some margin. This is a loud, loud beast. But this does have a bonus. This has GPS. This does not have GPS. So although we will install one and probably do it as part of the follow-up tech spec video, it doesn't have a GPS as standard, which is probably going to push it over. So we're going to have to use a slightly lighter battery, but it's just something to bear in mind. So this much, much louder, sub 250 grams by some chalk, has a GPS, and is Darwin FPV. So that's another point to note. I think we'll just leave it at that. Sort of pop them all on screen together. But now we have the king, in my opinion, of Cinewhoops for anybody who's taking this seriously or even semi-seriously. It's only 1.6 inches, so it is a baby in comparison, but it is the Itsy Evo from Spider RC Dynamics. I can't remember what they're called, so I'm so sorry. I'm good friends with the excuse me, I've got a battery charging. I'm good friends with the owner over there at Spider, and they produce incredible things. We have talks quite often, and there are some really, really nice things coming out that you guys will absolutely love. But here is a size comparison against the king of Cine, the Itsy Evo, against the CineLog30. It is quite substantially bigger in comparison, but what it is, again, when you compare it against all of them, it is one of the lighter ones on here. Obviously take away the smaller ones. It's substantially lighter than the 3.5 inch, and it's not far off the 2 inch. Noise wise, nothing beats the Itsy Evo. It is the quietest here. This is not a comparison video, but people ask all the time, what is it like versus this, this and this? So I thought I might as well while I'm here. The main contender that it's going to have is going to be the Beta FPV Pavo 20 Pro, and the easiest way to compare those two, in my opinion, is going to be very simple. This is going to be more for outdoor use and higher wind scenarios, whereas the Beta FPV 20 Pro is more for indoors and for lighter wind use. Pick your tool as you may. But bearing in mind, you've also got this, although I appreciate these are hard to get a hold of and you have to build them yourself. You've got one with the GPS at the back there, but it is incredibly loud. And then you've got the monster CineLog30 V3, which will carry a GoPro. And actually, that reminds me, what I haven't done with that yet is carry a Insta360 Go. So I think we'll need to take that out for a flight, because we haven't done that for a while, and get some spectacular shots with that Insta360 as well. Okay, so that is the comparison of the size. Let's take a closer look at something else. And very quickly, we have a comparison with the Beta FPV Feminist, or Femto, as you guys may know it. And this is not a serious Cinewhoop. This is more of a ducked drone to get newbies into the hobby. Carries the 04 light, although I've removed it at this moment in time. And again, it just shows you the size comparison between the two. So we'll try and get the lens in to have a look at the all-in-one. I don't fancy taking all this apart, I've got to be honest, because it is that well put together, but we'll have a quick look at the specs. So it comes with an F7 all-in-one flight controller, which is also a 32-bit ESC as well, which is really good. We've got 1404 3850 kV motors. It comes with HQ props, DT 76 mils, obviously by 3 blades. They recommend a LIHV4S 720 mile, which is what we've been using. And for that, they can say it will achieve a flight time of 8 minutes and 10 seconds with an 04 Pro. This morning, we managed to get over 7 minutes in really, really windy conditions, whilst also pushing it and doing a little bit of freestyle as well. So I think 8 minutes is actually quite realistic. Normally, manufacturers will push and exasperate a little bit on the truth, but actually I think they're probably about right there, to be honest. Now this bit here, let me lower the camera, sorry. So, this part here is aluminum, and that will help reinforce the carbon here, which goes into the plastic. The ducts are plastic. They are relatively, if we can see here, look, you can bend them. So they are relatively, weak's the wrong word, but quite lightweight. And that's how they managed to keep it under that 250 grams. I wasn't sure that they would actually be able to do that, if I'm completely honest, but they have done. But like I say, you can see that they will bend. You've got the LEDs underneath. And what I do like as well under here, let's just make sure that this is in focus. And we'll just lower that down a little bit. So what I do like is you access the 04 under these. They just flick out, and you can see here you've got your USB there, and then on this side you've got your bind button and your memory card. So that's it's lovely and neat. Everything on this is done, put together really well, really neat. Obviously the 04 is then screwed in there. Very nice, well put together drone, and like I say, we'll have a closer inspection of it, but I don't fancy taking it all apart, so I'm not sure exactly what we'll see, but we'll look and see as much as we possibly can. It also says it's got dustproof plugs for your data ports. I've not seen those. Oh no, never mind, these are the dustproof plugs, aren't they? Silly me. Custom PDB with receiver, buzzer, LED back, TVS and anti-spark features. I'm just looking what else we've got. So we've got a 16 megabyte black box recorder. I think that's probably everything we need to look at really here. There are multiple color options. You can change this for a different color if you wanted. I'm not sure what colors are available. I'm just actually looking on the website now as I'm saying this. I can see black and I can see orange. Can't see anything else. I would love to see the colours that Axis Flying did with the Cinon, so pink, red, and etc. I quite like them in channel colours. If you're listening, GEPRC, probably not. But we've also got a really nice shock absorbing mount here. Now I say really nice. I haven't yet checked the footage, so I don't know just how well it is performing, but certainly I like the idea of it. And actually, it's come out of this one. Look, so that's a potential issue. Let me just refocus in here. There. So we can see, look, it's actually come out of that shock absorbing mount there. The other side is still in, as we can see there. But it was very windy this morning, so it's going to be interesting to see what the footage actually looks like. Let me just put that back in. And now we move on to the community spotlight, one of my favourite features on these videos. And Whittle4Zip says, RIP to Bro's battery. Thanks for your comment. Next up, we've got one from Whiskey Yeet, who says, oh my God, my respect for you has just increased tenfold. Happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I hope you're feeling good in yourself, brother. And first of all, I want to extend that straight back at you, buddy. This was a cause that's close to my heart for many, many different reasons. And it's difficult to talk about, it's difficult to raise, but I've got a small platform and I figured if I'm not going to do it, nobody's going to do it. So I can't expect anybody else to take up the mantle. So I figured I might as well do it myself. There are plenty of other creators out there doing it, but what I'm saying is I'm not relying on anybody else to raise it. I'm going to do it myself as well. And the thing is, although it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month in June, I've decided that we're not just going to celebrate it or mark it or note it in June. We're going to mark it all year round. Hence the logo has had a slight tweak. And also, in addition to that, you know, we'll put out maybe one post a week with a bit of an inspirational message or a bit of a supportive message to people who are struggling, because I understand more than most people realise exactly what it's like. So thank you so much for your comment. I hope you're well. I hope everybody's well. And if you're not, please do reach out. The Discord link will be in the description down below. in that Discord, we do have a specific channel for help with mental health and things. If you just want to go in there and have a chat and have a vent, or, you know, seek support, you know, the options are all there for you. But you know, don't suffer in silence and don't suffer alone, please. Thank you. And Flying Bee FPV says, thank you very much for the comparison. I would love to hear your opinion to decide between the Avion Icon 3, Speedy Bee Master 3X regarding size, flight times, weight, noise, durability, and the quick changing 04 Pro system. Also, is it possible to mount the Speedy Bee quick change system on the Beta FPV Pavo 20 Pro without any additional 3D prints? It's a lot of questions, and I'm going to try and answer them all as well as I can, but if there is anything I missed, just drop a comment down below and I'll try and pick up anything that I don't quite get to. So with regards to the Icon 3, I don't have an Icon 3, I have an Icon 3.5, but the Speedy Bee Master 3X is a 4-inch. So the Icon 3.5 is going to be the one that you're going to want to compare it to anyway. It's going to be closer to the Master. Now, weight, the Avion wins. Flight time, the Avion wins. Noise, the Avion wins. Where the Speedy Bee Master 3X does win out is over durability. Now, that's not saying that the Avion RC is bad, it isn't, but obviously it's got thinner carbon because it wants to get under that 249 gram weight limit, whereas the Speedy Bee Master is over 249 grams, so they don't really care. So they've added thicker carbon, they've added bigger motors, and they've just said, you know, you only live once, let's just send it at whatever weight we can send it at, it doesn't matter. And that comes across, I've got to be honest, in how it flies. Neither quad is bad in any way, shape or form, but if durability is the most important thing to you, then I would recommend the Speedy Bee Master 3X. Now, with regards to the 04 quick change system, it's brilliant, it's great, but it is limited to 2 drones at the minute. So the question is, like, how brilliant and how great is it for you if it's only limited to 2 drones? Now, if that system rolls out to more, then I agree, potentially, you know, it's going to be really hard not to keep recommending it because it is such a great little system. Can you use it on the Beta FPV Pavo 20 Pro? No. I believe there are some additional 3D prints to modify it. I wouldn't bother. I really wouldn't bother. I'd wait for something to come along specifically designed for it. Otherwise, all you're doing is you're making something fit that shouldn't fit, and it's going to be suboptimal, isn't it? The Pavo 20 Pro is phenomenal and produces incredible quality footage. I personally wouldn't want to mess with that. Just really, really quickly at the end of this as well, by the way, I want to let you all know that we have actually partnered with Samsung. This is a Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. We have partnered with Samsung, and we are going to bring you a review of this on the channel. So let's see, I probably can't show you that lock screens, but there it is. And if you've got any questions about it, please do let me know in the comments down below. Becoming a tech YouTuber is something I didn't really think would ever happen. I don't know if it's going to happen on this channel, but we're going to bring it on this channel. We're going to see how it goes, and if we need to set up separate channels, whatever. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. If you want to get featured in the next community spotlight on the next video, just leave a really great comment like these 3 have done. We'll pick 3 at random for the next video, and away we go. It is very windy here today. And as some of you will know, and for the ones that don't know, you're about to learn, no matter how powerful the Cinewhoop is, if it's got ducts, so the things that are protecting the propellers on the sides, it's going to be affected by wind, and affected relatively badly as well. So we're just going to have a bit of a scope around and try and fly a little bit more technical in here. This is our little technical course, and see how it goes. Because, to be fair, obviously we've got a little bit of prop wash there because it is a Cinewhoop, but even with a little bit of prop wash, it still flies. It's very, very nimble, I think is probably going to be the best word. It feels light and airy and wants to go where it wants to go. It doesn't feel like
apart from when you're doing obviously acro mode stuff with it, so flips, tricks, rolls, but it's not designed for that, is it? It's designed to be a cinematic beast. And I've flown quite a few of these, and I did say that for this week at some point we was going to have a comparison of them all. Unfortunately, the weather and time has been against me. As you can hear, the wind is absolutely wild in the background. There would have been a time where I wouldn't have even flown a 5-inch in this. It's we've got a storm coming this afternoon, so I figured, well, if the storm's coming this afternoon, it's not coming now, so let's get out and fly. But we are going to have to be super careful with it. We really are going to have to be super careful and not send it too much. And you can see the sort of prop wash that gets induced when it goes upside down. Pretty much normal for a Cinewhoop, really. It's nothing above and beyond that you would expect. Oh, it shouldn't be doing this or it shouldn't be doing that. We are going to send it through the Wheel of Death. We don't have a GPS and it is crazy windy, so this may be the first quad I'm about to lose ever to the Wheel of Death. So yeah, I'm just trying to warm up a little bit and see how it feels first. But no risk, no reward, eh? It is incredibly nimble, to use the name of another drone from a different company. So it is sub 250. It is 3-inch, I think. To double check that, pretty sure it's 3-inch. And I've got to be honest, if you're not carrying a GoPro, this is probably, and again I hate the phrase, but this is probably the best one I've flown, the best Cinewhoop I've flown, if you're not using a GoPro. If you're using a GoPro, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as nimble and as light, and it's going to lose all of its advantages. But if you're just using the 04 Pro, it is probably the best of the ones I've reviewed so far. Is it the best? It's the best of what I've used, and I can only go off that. It's, I mean, you can see it really is a bit of a cinematic beast, really. Even in these winds, and you can hear the winds actually trying to open the gate, it's that windy. So what I am going to do, just to prepare myself, you can see the clouds are getting worse. Let's have a flight. You can see, look, I'm trying to fly forwards, I'm actually being pushed off to the right. This is me flying straight and level forwards. So are we going to go through the Wheel of Death? Because the idea of going up here now, and this has got LEDs again, so the spotter can see it without any problems. But if we're flying this way through the Wheel of Death, we're going to get pushed to the left like this, look. This is flying straight and level. So we're going to have to bear that in mind. If we are going to do it, we are probably going to have to crab a little bit, which never looks good on film. I'm never a massive fan of it, for pretty obvious reasons. But again, look, you can see we are just being thrown sideways here. This is trying to fly straight and level. So this is something, like I say, that if you're not aware and you want to get a Cinewhoop, you are going to have to bear in mind. It is crazy windy, so you're not necessarily going to encounter this in light winds, although you may well encounter it in winds, light or not. But in the main, you can fly around it, unless it's crazy, crazy, crazy. Like, we're fine here, look, and I can do whatever I want. We're on this track here, look. Get pushed a little bit then with that gust, and then we'll go down here. And we've been flying for nearly 6 minutes. Wow. We're using a 720mm 4S LIHV from sub 250, and we've now hit 6 minutes and we're at 3.62 volts. Efficient, even in these high winds. Lovely. You'll all probably leave a comment there saying, oh, you nearly got hit the tree. That was deliberate. Clearly, obviously deliberate. Right, let's land and change this battery. Make sure our settings are set to get us to the Wheel of Death. I'm not sure this is a good idea, I've got to be honest. But 6.5 minutes at 3.57 volts. And I'm pretty sure I can drag this to 7 minutes for you, just so you guys know. You guys always ask, how long does the battery last? It does depend on how you're flying, but we have flown a little bit of freestyle. We are flying against the wind, and we've done a little bit of cinematics. And we're at 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Sorry, 6 minutes. 7 minutes and 2 seconds, sorry. Right, let's land and switch batteries and decide what we're going to do. I'm not entirely sure this is a good idea. How we fare in this wind, it seems to have picked up just since I've changed the battery, so even just getting there against this wind is proving a little bit difficult. Having to use a lot more power than I would normally be comfortable with. I'm not going to go through the wheel. It is just, this wind now is just too much. The higher we go, the worse the wind is. But can you dive a chimney? Well, we'll do something. And we're at 3.8 volts already. That's how much we've had to fight the wind just to get inside that compound. That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. But there's a whole shot, there's a whole sight in one shot, look. And we can just sit here now, hands off the controller. It's going to move a little bit in the wind, but it really is well balanced, well set up, and really very easy to fly, to be fair. Like I say, not so long ago I wouldn't have even considered flying a 5-inch in these conditions. Now part of that obviously is experience and learning to fly, dare I say, better, but also if you've got a quad that's you can trust, so you know what it's going to do. It doesn't necessarily mean it's good or it's better or whatever, but if you've got a quad that you can trust, that you know you're going to tell it to do A, B and C and it's going to do A, B and C, you can do things that are a little bit more out of your comfort zone than what they would have been before. Now I am going to come back and land, because although it's only on 3.8 volts, I'm going to switch to a different location, purely because as fun as that was, I'm not going to repeat it. But it was quite busy here, so it's actually going to be quite nice to do this route and chill. That said, there are going to be gusts here like crazy, so can it come around a relatively technical chill course? Well, we know what it's already capable of. So let's talk a little bit about the GEPRC CineLog30 then, should we? So it's a sub 250 gram 3-inch Cinewhoop. It comes with LEDs and in a few different bright colours. I don't think it just comes in orange, although I may be wrong. That may be the Axis flying one, I'm not sure. It's not particularly loud. It's not as loud as the DarwinFPV 2-inch, even though it's an inch bigger. It's very, very efficient. As we saw, we flew for nearly for over 7 minutes, should I say, on a 720 mAh LIHV4S. It is sub 250. If you are after a Cinewhoop that doesn't need to carry a GoPro, then I think this is probably going to be the ideal mix, because it's got those bigger props, it's got more authority in the air. It's not going to be as glidable as, say, the Pavo 20 Pro, which I think still, from a pocket point of view, is king. This is going to be slightly bigger, slightly more wieldy, and I'll try and remember to put some comparison pictures up shortly. So it is a bit bigger, so if you want something that's a little bit bigger that can handle the wind a bit better, As I said before, I wouldn't normally be trying to fly a 5, or in the past I wouldn't be trying to fly a 5-inch in the winds that we've got today. So the fact that 3-inch with ducks is able to do it without any problems and still get 7 minutes flight time, I think really does sort of speak at how well made this is. GEPRC, let's be fair, GEPRC and iFly are sort of the two marquee brands in FPV and have been for a long time, and they know what they're doing. And it's rare you get anything bad from them, but we have to check it and we have to review it because it's your money that you're spending, and I would hate you to spend your money on anything that happens to be bad. However, that said, this is not a bad purchase whatsoever. If you've got something like the Speedy BB25, which is a 2.5-inch, I'd probably not recommend picking this up unless you have a specific purpose for it. If you've got a Pavo 20 Pro and you're thinking, should I get one of these? Well, if you want something slightly big with slightly more authority for slightly more extreme conditions, then yeah, absolutely. If you've got a 5-inch and you want something a bit smaller for flying around people, again, this is sub 250 grams and it's got the ducks, so you can get your FAA certification for it, which no doubt we will be having a similar version of in the UK at the end of this year. For flying around people, I fully expect prop guards or ducks to be a requirement. So that all said, it comes with the DJI O4 Pro. I'm not actually sure of the spec of the motors and things, but we'll have had a look at those already on the... I forgot my words for a second, that dog's just put me off. On the quality check segment, so we'll know what the flight controller is, we'll know how well put together it is. It's nice that it's got those LEDs. I do wish that you could change the colour like the Speedy B ones, but beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. And it's good for spotters, so spotters can see it nice and easy. It's brightly coloured, looks nice at night time as well, or in the dark with those LEDs. You get a nice long flight time. This Lipo that I'm currently using is an 850 mil, which does take us slightly over 250 grams. That said, it was at 3.9 volts when we took off. We've been flying for 4 minutes and we're at 3.6 volts. So this is an incredibly efficient drone. It will freestyle a little bit. However, the soft mounting on that O4 Pro camera does obviously wobble with it. It's more for cinematics, it's not really for freestyle. I haven't yet reviewed the footage, so I don't know that wobble, how much it will translate to the rock steady footage afterwards, so we'll have to have a check of that. But as long as it comes out okay, then yeah, I would recommend it for light freestyle. If those wobbles are not dealt with by rock steady, and they are there purely because the camera is completely soft mounted to give you as good of a view as possible. But if obviously they're still there in freestyle, then obviously I'm going to say no to that. But it's a lovely quad. It's really efficient. Like I said before, I'm not saying it's better than this, that and the other, but what it is straight away is reliable. You know exactly when you tell it to do something what it's going to do. This is only my 3rd flight with it, and I already know exactly what it's going to do, where it's going to go, and what it's going to do. And that, when it comes to FPV, is, in my opinion, just as important as spec, or as this, as that, as the other. No.
So then, this has been the review of the CineLog, what is it? CineLog30 from GEPRC. What do we like about it? Well, it's sub 249 grams. The footage that comes out due to the soft mounting on the O4 Pro is really nice. It's got an F7, it's got a 32-bit ESC, all the good things that you would want in a bind and fly. You've got LEDs, you've got a really bright sort of frame for your spotter to be able to see, so on and so forth. But it's not all perfect. What don't we like about it? Well, I've got to be honest, there's no GPS, which for me is always going to be a negative point. Another point is this system at the front where the O4 camera is held is fantastic and really does make the footage look incredibly cinematic. However, I had an issue whereby it actually come out on one side and it's really difficult to put back in. It's not a showstopper, but you will need something to put it back in with. I used a sim tool and it, like I say, it was a little bit fiddly. It's not the end of the world. We're gonna have to open it up to put a GPS in, I've got to be honest. It's something I do want to fly more. The reason being is it gets over 7 minutes in windy conditions on a 720 Mark 4S. So in non-windy conditions, GEPRC state that it'll get over 8 minutes flight time with the same battery. I've got no reason to disbelieve them. It really is well put together. It's well tuned. You can do light freestyle with it, nothing crazy, but it will freestyle if you just get the urge to send it and do a flip here and there. It's not overly noisy and it's not very expensive either. So for me, if you're looking for a 3-inch or under a 3.5 inch or above a 2.2 inch with the Pavo 20 Pro or the 1.6 inch Itsy Evo, this sits perfectly in the middle, and I highly recommend, if you're in the market for something like this, you pick one up.